calendar is, excuse me, that the finance calendar, the action chart here is also available in the Chapter Resource Center. But let me go ahead and share my screen with that just so we can kind of get on the same page. For those of you that do not have access to the Chapter Resource Center, please let us know and we'll get you going as soon as possible. But basically, what you'll do here is just pretty much navigate to the tools section and then click on Chapter Resource. You'll also check on the Chapter Resource Center again, and under Finance Operations, you'll see the action chart listed here. So just to kind of start off, many of you are already pretty much working together to finalize, close. And so as you can see here, the due date for that is pretty much July 1st. But I kind of see it as like a soft close because you're still going to be working with your audit team, to see if there's any final like year-end adjustments as a result of that. So all in all, basically with these two requirements, the due date for that really is August 1st. And the requirements will be, you'll be able to certify everything again through the CVent portal. So all in all, like all these three requirements here, if you click on the CVent portal, you'll be able to, it'll take you step by step, in which I will gladly go over that in just a bit. The Irs Tax Compliance Survey, that is something that the president and the treasurer will pretty much work together with. It is a 38 questionnaire. And if, you would like a copy of last year's submission, I can definitely send that over upon an email request. And the IRS 990 form. So basically, once the chapter wraps up the annual review and uploads it to the CVent portal, I will go ahead and start prepping the 990 for the chapter as well as the region. And then I will send it over to the leaders to basically do a final review and then also final completion. The conflict of interest, as the email states, this was basically something that was posted in the Leadership Connection community. In prior years, we, had the treasurers pretty much collect all of these, certifications and that. And so we kind of made it easier this year by providing this survey link there.
Turn down my volume because I'm in a meeting.
As far as the chapter budget, we don't necessarily need to receive a copy of it as long as it's entered into QuickBooks upon the board's approval. Again, that's an August 1st deadline. And then everything else here that you see is just basically there for informational purposes. Kind of a reason why I kind of wanted to bring you here in the beginning to start off, because I would, this is basically where we would post anything that, that's going to be due, that's going to be coming your way, as the year progresses. And we do have these treasurer training videos. Again, they're really, this is mainly more something that our leaders can dive into on at their own pace and time. But I just wanted to show you the type of resources you do have here. Anyone that wants to just learn a little bit more about QuickBooks, these are some videos that, I pretty much, prepped for you guys and last year. So they're pretty much up to date. There's these other resources here along with the user guide, if that's something that you wish to just kind of go over to help a little bit more with your training. With respect to the treasurer operations, right now that we are going through the, our certifying for our year end, and wrapping all that stuff up. These are definitely some really great videos that'll take you step by step through the annual review and the 990 form. This chapter rebates, that may be a little outdated with the changes that pretty much happened this year, but it'll explain to you pretty much how we come up with the calculation and the breakout with the rebate. The general information and responsibilities. I'm sorry, was that
This is Tracy. We have a couple questions in the chat. I just wanted to, the question, the first one is, has this email been sent out already? The one that you had started out the call with?
Yes, it actually went out the middle of May. So I can definitely forward this to anyone that has not received it as of date if I get an email from to the accounting@hfma.org.
Thank you, Carla. And then on the conflict of interest, how can we see who has completed it for our board and who needs to be reminded?
What I'll do is I'll run a report as we approach that, that deadline, and I'll certainly work with each chapter and provide a list of those individuals that have provided a certification for that.
Thank you.
No problem. Great questions, guys. So I would definitely dive into, for sure, at this point, the policies and documents. That's going to explain the certifications that are out there available for you in CVent, in the CVent portal. Basically, let me bring this up, excuse me. You'll basically be certifying for the practice of operations policy, the authorization for inclusion, and then the certification of no education foundation, except for the New York chapter. But definitely look into these at your own time, just to help you complete your year-end processes. We also have this CVent reporting that's out there as well, just to help you navigate through, CVent. And then these are the additional resources where you can actually reach us at any time if you need any assistance whatsoever. The chapter forms, these are just available here for you if you wanted to just, click on them at your own leisure and just read through them. Again, these will be available for you in the CVent portal just to certify. The annual review and guideline, this is optional for the chapter or the region, but it is there for you in a Word version in case you wanted to use it, as you complete your annual review. Further down, the policy certification requirements, these are also there just for you to just, read. If you need a little bit more clarity on, what documents you can actually, destroy or things of that nature, definitely, you can download this document there. I would say out of these additional resources, one of the biggest one right now, since many of you are going back to live events, it's the certificate of insurance request. And I actually have it open right here. So this is basically all we would need from the chapter. Sometimes a copy of the contract helps, but basically if you request a certificate of insurance from us, the turnaround is pretty much within like 48 to 72 hours. And so all we would need is just this basic information from you. And again, sometimes the contract helps. And so at this point, I want to go ahead and, just take you into QuickBooks for a little bit, just to kind of show you where things are. So for those of you that are new and have not received access to QuickBooks, feel free to email me. All I would need is first and last name and an email address. Please keep in mind that these emails to access QuickBooks come directly from Intuit, and sometimes they get stuck in your spam folder. So, just be mindful of that. But basically, it's a matter of seconds. And once I receive your request, an email gets sent. So, just be sure to check that. And then if anything, we can troubleshoot that together. But basically, one of the first things I usually like for our leaders to check is basically under settings, click on manage users. And this allows you to see anyone that has access to your QuickBooks. We have the standard user access, which allows you to navigate through anything. And then there's the reports only access, which typically like our presidents or anyone that's pretty much auditing the chapter's financials, that's the type of access that they usually receive. Each chapter is granted up to 3 standard users, and then reports only access, that's basically unlimited. And then you also want to navigate to the under your chapter account and settings. And this is where you'll basically be able to find your chapter's tax ID number, and then basically a member-facing address where pretty much any correspondence that is related to probably invoicing or just anything that you're issuing from QuickBooks is being sent there. So pretty much the member-facing treasurer information is listed under contact information, and then usually their address is listed here or a PO box. So if this information is outdated, feel free to contact me directly, and I'll be sure to work with you to update this information. Outside of this, I do want to just point out that, I'm trying to work with our leaders to pretty much, see if there's anything with respect to their chart of accounts that they wish to change. Maybe, there's some items out there that you guys are no longer using. That goes the same with any classes. So, maybe during your downtime, feel free to reach out to me and we can work on that to just clean things a little bit more, and then try to simplify the process for the 990 form filing next year. And I think that really much wraps it up with regards to, QuickBooks at this point. If you guys are comfortable, I can show you guys how to navigate through the CVent survey. Now, this is just basically one submission that the chapter or region needs to submit per chapter or region. You can definitely work together, either the incoming or the outgoing treasurer, or sometimes, the president also gets involved. So, maybe sharing, your screen together or something, but just to kind of show you, one of the things I do want to point out before I get started is, because it is a requirement to submit your annual review in the portal, and this goes along with maybe any field work, any reports, or any support basically that's related to your annual review. So I would try to at least work to finalize that before you begin with this process. But basically, you'll start off with entering your first and last name and email address. And then you would select your region, and then what chapter you're completing this for, the role, okay? As I mentioned, these policies and statements are available to you in the Chapter Resource Center. But basically, these are hyperlinks. So if you click on each, you'll be able to, bring them, open them, and then, be able to review them and whatnot. So So once you basically go through that, you're certifying that you have reviewed everything and you're agreeing to it. And so you'll be, certifying by typing your name. And this is where you'll be able to upload, anything supporting your financial review. So I will, let's see here, maybe click on that, just upload a file and then just click accept, because otherwise it will not allow you to bypass this. And here, basically, you're able to review the information once again. And if it all looks great, you just basically click on finish and there's your submission. So in here, the active treasurer is, pretty much just certifying everything all for the chapter or the region. So at this point, I think you would just need to basically complete the tax compliance survey, and then the 990 form, which again, I will prep for the chapter and send for final review. And just a couple things that kind of come up here and there throughout the year that I kind of want to talk about is, one of the questions is, just to let you know that the chapters are 501c6 organizations, and so they are not exempt from state and local sales tax, but they are exempt from federal income tax. Okay, so if at any point you need a copy of the 501c6, feel free to reach out to me directly, and I can provide that for you as well. At this point, I can take any questions that you guys may have.
Don't be shy. We have a lot of time here for you all, and we want to make sure that we go over any questions that you might have. So feel free to raise your hand. We can unmute you, or you can type your message into the chat, and we can read your message to everyone, and we'll go ahead and answer those. Okay, Perla, I am not seeing anyone with any questions yet,
All right.
but I will keep an eye on that.
Okay.
Is there anything else, Perla, that you'd like to touch on that might be helpful? I know that a lot of treasurers sometimes repeat their roles. However, there are probably a lot of new ones here, and I know that it's only 2 weeks of your term, so the first 90 days can be kind of scary. So anything and everything, regardless of your role, if you'd like to ask, we're here to help. So please, ask any kind of questions that you have. Unless everybody's too hot from the heat like me.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is just like a brief, and just, I guess, meeting towards like what to expect for year end, but, definitely during the year, feel free to reach out at any point. I know when you start diving into QuickBooks, there may be a little bit more questions there and all that stuff. So, we can always set up a meeting, in private to just kind of go over anything that you may have an issue with QuickBooks, or if you want to learn how to navigate through it a little bit more. But I will definitely make it my responsibility to check on, each chapter, pretty much how I did a couple months ago, right before LTC. And so, throughout the year, that's one of my goals, is to just reach out to each chapter individually to see how they're doing. And if there has been a transition with another treasurer, that they're basically comfortable, or, if they have any questions, to just, be able to reach out. So.
We did actually have a question come into the box, and let me read this one. This is from Lauren. Hello, I'm new to this role of treasurer, and this might not be a great idea. Has there been any thought given to having the annual reviews for all chapters with one accounting firm?
That's a great question. There has not, but that's something that I could definitely bring up when we have our meetings.
Yeah, actually, Perla, we've started to kind of consider that. The problem is the things that we came up from a challenging perspective is the state requirements are different for different things, and so the accounting firm would have to be a nationally recognized accounting firm. This is not something that is on the agenda. We did talk through it with the council back in, was that April, when we were at LTC, and it was determined by the council that that was not something they wanted to move forward with at this time. So we'll keep it as a topic that we can continue to review, but that is not something that we're moving forward with at this time. Is that helpful, Lauren?
Yes, that is helpful. I just wanted to see, we had been kind of discussing it locally, so I just wanted to see what the thoughts were nationally. Thank you.
Yeah, so the one thing that I will tell you, that the regional, some regional executives did decide that, they may do that on their own and do like one for the region, but I just know that there's just a couple of regions that had considered that, but right now we're not looking at it.
Thank you.
We've got another comment that came in through the chat that I'll just like to read to everybody. This is Deborah. She's from the Northeast Ohio chapter, and her local firm, who's a member, provides the review as in-kind sponsorship. So Deborah's got her information in the chat.
That is how a lot of the chapters operate too. I know that there's usually someone from a CPA firm on the volunteer officer track or in the board of directors. And I know that when I was a chapter leader, we used one of our local volunteers to do our annual review.
Great. Any other questions? Or anything other than treasurer's things that you'd like to all talk about here? Or if not, everyone, I'm sure, would appreciate a half an hour back on their calendar. Okay. Quiet bunch today. Oh. Well, I will give everyone the gift of time back. If there's one thing I can't stand is dead air. So if there isn't anyone that would like to talk about anything other than, me talking about how lousy the weather is right now, how about I set everybody free? So I hope you all have a great rest of the week. And if you need anything, please reach out to Perla at accounting@hfma.org, or any one of us on the member volunteer experience team at chapter@hfma.org. Have a great rest of the week, everyone, and you take care. Bye, Mike. I see you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.